Man, who let the dogs out? There are a bunch of dogs outside my apartment, barking and roughing up a storm, and because I don't want to get involved in their business and tell them to be quiet, we are just gonna have to record this video with some bark roughs in the background here. Because today what I wanted to do was talk about the Montreal Canadiens again, and go over some extra news and notes in regards to the top new prospect on the team, Ivan Demidov. Because not only have we had ourselves a few extra tidbits of things that he has said over the past little while, but also we had ourselves another article that I thought was interesting to dive into that talks about a very particular name that reached out to Ivan Demidov and wanted to make sure that things were okay. In fact, because that actually happened a few days ago, let's head over to this article from last week. It was published by Sergei Demidov, and of course Sergei is not related to Ivan, he just happens to be a journalist for RG.org. Take a look at this piece from April 14th, 2025. I've never seen anything like this. Dan Milstein shares behind-the-scenes details of Ivan Demidov's arrival to Montreal. Last week, when Ivan Demidov made his way over to Montreal from SKA St. Petersburg, it was a big deal. It was the biggest deal in the hockey world. Not because a whole bunch of NHL fans were paying attention to it, but because of the quantity of Montreal Canadiens fans that paid attention to it. Ivan Demidov's flight from Istanbul to Toronto was the most tracked flight in the world, and there were Canadiens fans at the Toronto airport. Yeah, that's right, Canadiens fans in the Toronto airport that waited for this guy, chanted his name upon his arrival, and really wanted to get the scoop as to what was going on. This article is going to be linked in the description. It talks about how Ivan Demidov had all this hype around him, and there were 400,000 people that watched the live stream of his arrival at the airport. Dan Milstein goes out there and says that this is not anything he has ever seen before. There's a portrait of Ivan Demidov on every lamppost in Montreal already. Yes, we've already signed a major sponsorship deal with Warrior Sports. It's the biggest in Warriors history. They've said Ivan will be their most important client. Today, he's playing in Bauer gear, but starting next season, he'll switch to Warrior for 3 years and become the face of their brand. So, in the way that Crosby has kind of been a staple face of Tim Hortons and Gatorade, it seems like Ivan Demidov is going to be doing that with Warrior Sports. Interesting. Let's talk about some other contracts, though. This is what the article writes about in regards to the process of terminating Demidov's contract with SKA St. Petersburg. Dan Milstein said, "We had a long and respectful dialogue with SKA. I'm genuinely thankful to Roman Rottenberg for helping Ivan grow. I truly mean it. Roman got on the ice with him for individual sessions, showed him videos, and focused on his development. He didn't try to prevent his departure, didn't push a new contract or make threats. He just let Ivan play and move on peacefully, and I can't say a bad word about how SKA treated him. Even after the season ended, when there were talks about him going to the MHL or the VHL, they didn't go that route. They just let him go." Now look, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that just based off of the optics of him. Didn't push a new contract, didn't make threats, didn't prevent his departure. Really? I don't know about that. Oh, Roman Rottenberg let Ivan Demidov play. No, he didn't. He didn't play him at all. Okay, he played him a lot, but like not as much as he should have. Yeah, the impulsive thinking Montreal Canadiens fan is not going to respond to this nicely. The article then talks about the live stream, the fans that were tracking Demidov's flight, and how crazy it was that this entire situation went down. But then it says this here: how did Ivan prepare for the move? He started learning English with a tutor 2 years ago. By last year's draft, he was comfortable having conversations in English. Since the draft, he's also been studying some French. Honestly, I don't want to compare him to hockey legends just yet, but today, Pavel Datsyuk called to see how Ivan's doing and sent him his best wishes before his debut. They met at our summer camp. So Pavel Datsyuk was getting involved in the Ivan Demidov conversation too, asking how he's doing, and wishing him well. I'm going to say this here, if Pavel Datsyuk was able to share some of his skills and tricks with Ivan Demidov at summer camp in prior years, then I would be very much a fan of that. I can see a little bit of Datsyukian handles in the profile to come of Ivan Demidov. It's possible. I don't know necessarily if Ivan Demidov is going to be a Selke-winning defensive force, but he can probably pull out the magician's hands once in a while. Maybe. So, it's nice to see that there are some NHL Russian legends that are involved in the Demidov story and that are paying attention to this guy. Ultimately because I think there's so much excitement for what he is going to bring in the playoffs and into the long term. But the rest of the article is going to be linked in the description as well if you want to read more about Demidov's departure and his arrival in Montreal. Let's head over to some other comments made by the man himself as to what exactly his situation in Montreal could be looking like. A lot of these were posted onto Reddit by GoHabsGo31. Let's talk about what Demidov said about Russian guys, speaking about Pavel Datsyuk. He said yesterday that I love Malkin much more than I love Alex Ovechkin. And I don't know where exactly the reasoning comes from. I guess maybe the center versus the winger argument, but maybe it's a shot because, he's facing off against Ovi later in the series. Who knows if Kent Hughes should go out there and acquire Evgeni Malkin now instead of Sidney Crosby, because that totally was something that we had talked about. Speaking about guys that are already on the team, though, this is what Demidov said about playing with Patrik Laine yesterday. I like playing with him. He has good vision and a good shot, Demidov said on playing with Laine. Those two were developing some chemistry before Marty St. Louis shortened the bench the other day. It'll be interesting to see how they impact this coming series. And, of course, Demidov is on a line with Newhook and Laine. If this line sticks around, they stay together, and you have Demidov feeding Laine these passes left, right, and center, then, hey, this could be the 5v5 setup man that Patrik Laine was looking for. That was always an issue of Laine's throughout the course of this season. Oh, he can't do anything 5v5. Oh, he only scores his goals in the power play. And sure, he can score the same goal on the power play whenever you give him that opportunity, but you would hope to see some offense at 5v5 as well out of Patty Laine. Let's see if Ivan Demidov can develop some chemistry to allow these two to flourish in that spot together. And finally, let's talk about one more extra note here. I don't really know if this is a big deal, but it is a deal that we do need to go over here, because Ivan Demidov spoke out about his number, and this might not be the best piece of news for folks that already bought Demidov 93 jerseys, but it all depends on Oliver Kapanen, I guess. Take a look at this. Demidov spoke out about why he chose number 93. I know that the last Habs Stanley Cup is in 1993, but I like this number. If 91 is open, I'll take it, but now I just like this number. 93. And yeah, it's Oliver Kapanen, man. If you have that 91 up for grabs, Ivan Demidov is going to take it, and I don't think anybody is going to necessarily disagree, because I did see a lot of number 91 Demidov jerseys already in existence before Demidov's debut with the 93. Plus, I think this happens quite often enough that I think it's noteworthy where, yeah, hockey player changes his number a few years after his initial time in the NHL, like Cole Caulfield's number 13 now. So, yeah, there are a number of numbers that swap around once in a while, although, of course, Cole Caulfield's number change was for a very tragic reason. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, though, about these Ivan Demidov notes, from Malkin to Datsyuk to Laine to number 93. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. How do you feel about all these extra thoughts here? I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on, and bye.